Hey family, here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to today's video where I will be reviewing, swatching, and creating two looks with the Morphe and James Artistry eyeshadow palette. James and the Morphe team actually gifted me this palette, so thank you so much. I'm truly so grateful and so appreciative. I was so excited to play in this palette and play in the colors. I create one colorful look so we can test how the pigments and colors perform in this palette, as well as this more wearable, neutral-ish, fallish look so we can see how the more wearable colors perform in this palette. Just the outlay of this palette is so beautiful, the way everything is organized. I just have two main points. Okay, let's just get my review out the way right now. I will say, I just wish Morphe would have printed the names. I'm pretty sure a lot of people think this, would have printed the names on the actual palette. I taped mine to the upper port. What do you call this? The flap? I taped mine to the flap. Maybe not everybody thinks like me, because these are easily lost. But they print the names on their smaller palettes, so I don't know why they can't print these shadow names on their larger palettes, especially because these palettes are more expensive. Morphe, you print the names on the more affordable palettes, the smaller palettes. Why you can't print the names on your larger, more expensive palettes? Morphe, come on! The girls want the names on the actual on this, okay? We want the names here, okay? Because these get lost, so I hope they can just start printing the names on every palette. And my last notation, okay? I will say that the Morphe 39A palette, if you don't have this palette, then you probably won't know what I'm talking about. But if you do have this palette, you can't compare the two. I did the same thing to this palette. I think this palette, the 39A, was more buttery compared to the James palette. I think some of the pressed pigments, he did say that a lot of these shadows, well, maybe not a lot. Some of these shadows are pressed pigments. So they're a little drier in formula, and I was having trouble blending them off camera. I do one eye off camera just to see what look I'm gonna do, just to test out the shadows, see how they're gonna perform before I go ahead and hop on camera. And when I was doing my colorful look, a few of, I would assume they're gonna be the pressed pigments because they are a little drier. They're a little hard to blend. You can't just go right in and start blending. So I had to do the pat technique, where I just pat on the pigment to get the best color payoff, and then slowly start blending the shade. You just can't go right in and start blending it because it's not working. It wasn't working for me. However, James palette is very pigmented, okay? It doesn't lack pigment at all. It is very pigmented. But that's it. That's all I had to say about the palette. I think some of James' shadows were a little dry and not as buttery as I thought it was going to be, like the 39A mattes were. I'm talking about the mattes, I'm sorry. Just to be clear, I'm talking about the mattes. The shimmers were beautiful, but pigmented nonetheless. I feel like this palette is very versatile. This is a true artist palette, and congratulations to you, James, and thank you for gifting me this palette. So without further congé, if you are interested in seeing me swatch this palette on my brown skin girl, and to see the two looks that I created with this palette, a colorful look and this more wearable neutral fall look, then subscribe to my channel if you are not already subscribed. Tap that bell to be notified of my future uploads, and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy this video by the time you reach the end of this video. And stay tuned, keep on watching, and I hope you enjoy this video. Alright, we're gonna start off with swatches. This is the very beautiful sleeve that the palette comes in, and this is what the front of the actual palette looks like. Very sleek. I love the nice smooth black. The inner flap says unleash your inner artist, and you have a separate sheet with all of the names on it. And this is the outlay of the entire palette. Starting with row 1, we have the shade Canvas, Ring Light, So Good, 518, Rusted, Halloween, Wig, and Tea. And that is the first row swatches. For the second row, we have Punch Me, Sister, Mary, which is my favorite shade. Literally. You're kidding. Shook. Boutique. And lastly, Benny for the second row. For the third row, we have Flashback, Face, Tune, Code James, 10% off, No Beans, and lastly, Spooky for the third row. For the fourth row, the first shade we have is B, Guac, Hello, Playground, Brother, Artistry, which is a beautiful duochrome shade. Love that. Pinkity Drinkity. And that's it for the fourth row. For the fifth and final row, the first shade we have is Social Blade, Zaddy, Cape Cod, Cola, Acapella, Escape, Single, and then lastly for the fifth row we have Skip, and that completes the swatches. Moving on to look number one, I prime my lids with my Kevyn Aucoin Sensual Skin Enhancer. I do not own an actual eyelid primer, so I'm using my concealer. And first I'm going into the shade Ring Light, and I'm using this Morphe M167 brush and highlighting my brow bone. And my lid base is wet, I did not set it at all. Next I'm going to take the shade B, and I'm using this Sigma E38 brush, and first I'm tapping that color in because off camera it was hard just going straight into blending, so I'm tapping it in first and then I'm slowly doing little buffing motions. Next I'm going into the shade 518. I'm taking this Luxie Beauty 231 brush and I'm tapping that right below the shade B, and then I'm just going to seamlessly blend those two together. Now I just want to deepen up the inner lid just a tad, and I'm taking the shade You're Kidding Honey with the Morphe R41 brush, and I'm just packing that into the crease and then blending it into 518. Alright, for the second half of the lid, or the crease, I'm going to take the shade Skip, and I'm using that same Sigma E38 brush, and we're going to blend that into the outer crease, or the other half of the crease, and then blend it into the other shades. And to deepen up the outer crease, I'm taking the shade Love That with the same Morphe R41 brush, and I'm deepening that into the crease, and then blending it up into the shade Skip. I cut my crease off camera and created a little tail. Now I'm just blending out that concealer. Now I'm packing on the shade Flashback just to set my cut crease. And I used the Kat Von D Whiteout Lock-It Concealer to cut my crease. And now I'm just going back into the shade Love That with that same Morphe R41 brush just to blend it into the cut crease. and the outer crease, or the outer lid. I created a winged liner with concealer off camera, and that's that same Kat Von D Whiteout Locket concealer. Now I'm going to take the shade Brother, and this is a Morphe M508 brush, and we're going to create a colorful ombre liner effect. So I'm just packing that into the first half of the wing, and I'm being very careful as to stay inside of the lines that I created the wing liner with. And next I'm going to take the shade Single and pack that onto the second half of the wing and blending it into Brother. And yes, the wing does look a little sloppy, girl, but I am going to clean her up. That's the beauty of not doing your face first. Alright, so I cleaned up the wing. This is what the eye is looking like. I go ahead and place some Swarovski crystals onto the inner, I don't even know what you call this part of the eye, but I'm just placing 3 Swarovski crystals right there, and I adhere them with some lash glue. And this is what the eyes look like. Moving on to complete the lower lash line, I'm going to mix Social Blade and Zaddy with the Morphe R41 brush. I'm just going to pack that onto my lower lash line and sort of blend her out a tad. And lastly, for that pop in the inner corner, I'm going to place Hello in my lower inner corner and slightly in the upper inner corner. And this is a more precise Morphe brush. It comes in a set, so it does not have a name, but I will link the set down below. And for lashes, I'm popping on these Nabutsum Dragon Lee lashes, and you can use code AHLIYAH20 to save some coin at checkout. And this completes look number 1. This look is so beautiful, so intricate. I got to show you guys most of the colors in this palette. Let me know how you like this look. And this completes the first look. Moving on to our more wearable look number 2. I used the same base, the Kevyn Aucoin Sensual Skin Enhancer. So starting off, I'm going to take that same Morphe M167 brush, and we're going to pack on Canvas onto the brow bone. And next I'm going to take the shade Code James with that Sigma E38 brush, and we're going to pack that onto the upper crease area, and this is going to act as our transition shade. So since my lid is wet, I'm just packing that on first, and then I'll slowly start to blend it out. Next, I'm going to take the shade Mary, and I'm just working it slightly below Code James. I love this color. You guys, if you know me, you know I love mauve pinks. And this is like the perfect mauve pink shadow, and I love a pink look. So I might do a pink look with this palette next, but I'm just working that into the crease as well, blending it in with that same Sigma E38 brush. And to deepen up the crease, I'm going to take the shade Boutique with that Morphe R41 brush, and we are placing that directly into the crease and blending it into our transition shades. And I felt like the crease wasn't deep enough, so I do go in with the shade Benny, which is like a very deep espresso brown. And we're going to put that directly into the crease over top of Boutique to deepen up the crease even further. Alright, next I'm going to take the shade So Good. This shade is so beautiful. It looks so wet on the lids and it's so buttery. First I apply it to my finger just to see how it applies with my finger. And then I'm going in with this Morphe E19 brush. It's a lip brush, but I just needed a more precise application. And I'm packing that onto my lid. And I wanted a more rose gold lid. So I take the shade Shook and I sort of try to mix it in with So Good, just to create sort of a rosy gold lid instead of just a gold lid. And for this shade, I was kind of just experimenting, so I just took the shade Artistry, which is so beautiful. I wish James put more duochromes in this palette because it has like a shift to it. It's like a blue-purple shift. So I packed that just into the outer third of the lid and blend that in with the Morphe E19 brush. And now I did my winged liner off camera. I just used a brown liner and I'm packing on the shade Wig onto my liner because I kind of wanted a shimmery brown liner look. I got a lot of shimmer going on with this look. Listen, I didn't know where I was going with this, okay? I'm gonna pop on those same New Buxom Dragonly lashes. And remember, honey, code ahliyah20 saves you some coin. Now we're going to finish off the lower lash line. I'm just going to go ahead and take that same shade Boutique just to balance off the eyes with that Morphe R41 brush. And I'm going to stamp the shade Spooky with the Morphe M432 brush right next to the lash line, like very right up close to the lash line. I also added some liner off camera into my waterline, which makes my eyes look a little bit deeper right here. So that is not the shadow. I did add some liner as well. And then lastly, for the inner corner, I'm going to take the shade Face and pop that into the lower inner corner and slightly into the upper inner corner. And this completes look number 2. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Check out my latest video if you have not already. Subscribe to my channel if you are new here. I love you guys so much. And until next time, always remember to serve, honey. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.